I might cry, is a friend.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
You look so pretty.
Thank you.
I went through your TEDx
Oh,
talk.
thank you.
Wow. Wow. It was magnificent. Your composure, your content, of course, was so on point, but you delivered it in a way that even I could
That I
understand.
practiced for months and I had a coach and it is now at over 5 million views. So I feel really very proud of it, of the impact that that message has had. So Sugar is Not a Treat is the title. And seeing the world through my eyes as a type 1 diabetic since I was 7, I've always been aware of sugar being a problem. And I feel like actually having type 1 has been a gift because sugar has always had to be monitored and restricted in my life. And now it's just an easy thing for me to say no to the majority of the time, not always. And so I feel lucky because I see the masses eating sugar like it's no big deal. And yet it's killing our country in terms of health complications, fatigue, depression, lack of ability to focus and concentrate, suppression of creativity, putting people in a bad mood. People have no idea when they are eating the S.A.D diet, right? The standard American diet, how much that negatively impacts their health and that ripples out into all of their life, personally and professionally. So I'm grateful. I'm so passionate about turning the light on for people that what they eat is affecting them in such a negative way. And so the fact that it's over 5 million views, I was excited when it hit 10,000 views, you know? So
Of course. Well, that is so wonderful. So now you've been amazing at educating folks. How do you get, because you're so great at self-love, your favorite person is my husband's favorite person, Jody Stanislaw.
yes.
How do you help people just shift that? I guess love themselves enough to
Well, what's
make that
funny
shift.
is that people have told me my whole life I need to love myself more. And the problem is, if you don't know how to love yourself, having someone tell you need to love yourself more, you don't know what that means. Because if you did, you would be doing it. So, my personal story is that I love to exercise, I love to not drink, I love to sleep. And so, when people would say you need to love yourself more, I would look at them with their beer in their hand and never exercising, staying up late. And I would think, well, I obviously love myself more than you do because you don't take good care of yourself. And so I was only measuring it based on my actions of what I did in my life. And what I've learned now is that's only part of self love. So, and I have a 3-step
Okay.
system of self love. And the first one is those basic things, right? And the great acronym is how are you doing with taking your meds? Mindset, exercise, diet, and sleep. That is step one. That is the only definition of self care that I had. The second one really is self compassion and being kind to yourself,
Oh,
being kind to wherever you've been, wherever you're doing well, wherever you're not doing well, where in the past you fell down and you have regrets or disappointments or just a universal, all life reaching ability to have compassion for your journey. If it's whatever your upbringing was, or whatever your love life was, or whatever your body was, or whatever your job path, all of those aspects of your life, to just have compassion for wherever you've been and wherever you are now. That is
and maybe not judge it. Sounds like we don't need to like judge it so
exactly.
harsh.
It's that unconditional loving mother. Or
Oh,
the analogy that people can relate to a lot is your pet, right? If your pet poops in the floor or your
mhm.
pet pukes up their food, right? We just love our pets. You know, if they're super fat, if they're super
Right.
ugly, we love our pets. We don't care. We just love our pets. So that
Right.
is a key part of just this unconditional, and so self-compassion, right? If your pet does something wrong, you have compassion. It didn't know better or got sick, right? So that self-compassion
Mm-hmm.
piece. So that is key. And then the third one, which is what I've never really dialed into, is self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? Do you
Okay.
think you're an amazing person? Do you think you're worthy of love? Do you it really goes deep into how would you describe yourself? That is so key. So we have three layers. We have self-care, we have self-compassion, and we have self-talk. And all three are kind of like the three sides of a triangle. And the whole triangle is your self-love. So self-love isn't just about eating healthy. It
Okay.
just isn't about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and your past and your self-talk. So this is, and Jamie Kern Lima, who's launching a new book soon, and I've heard speak several times.
So
She made a
excited.
differentiation that I thought was very powerful, and I'm going to add one more step to that. It's a three-tiered step. The first step is I've always felt very confident. I can stand on a stage and give a talk. I can travel the world by myself. I moved to Australia by myself. I moved to Italy by myself. I've moved to Thailand by myself. I've asked men out. I've won storytelling contests. I've written a book and put it on Amazon. I can do big, confident things. So people thought I was self confident. But that doesn't go all the way to the depths, the next level of when you're doing all these things, how do you feel about yourself? Right? Are you self-confident? Are you proud of what you've done? Do you, I wasn't sure if people liked me. I didn't know if I said the right thing. I was worried about how I looked and if I was pretty enough or if I had the right outfit on, right? So just because you're confident doesn't mean you're self-confident. And then the differentiation that
Mm.
Jamie Kern Lima made was self-confidence is actually different than self-worth. So that's the foundation for self-confidence and self-love. And self-worth doesn't change. Confidence, that stands alone. Self-confidence, that ebbs and flows based on external events. And worthiness is a constant knowing that you are worthy. It doesn't ebb and flow. And all of these areas actually take practice. Some people inherently have them stronger than others. Some people it's easier to have confidence and stand on a stage and others don't. Some have an easier time being self confident than others. And some people feel worthy no matter what they're doing versus not. So we inherently have kind of a starting point with all those three things. However, they all fluctuate through our life if we don't work to make them a priority, right? So, was your upbringing something that made you feel worthy, regardless of the conditions of if you got straight A's, if you got into college, if you did all those things? I was very focused as a kid on achievements to create my worth. I didn't have a great start of just feeling worthy regardless. I put myself into a ton of pressure to achieve great things so that I could feel worthy. But those things are always fleeting, right? So self-worth,
So why do you think that was? That was why? Why do you think that was there? How did that
children make
start?
up stories for what their parents
Do you
do,
think?
right? And children generally are self-focused. So I had parents that were divorced and they both worked full time. So I was home a lot by myself. And I made that mean I wasn't worth their time.
Mm.
So that's kind of a, a
Oh,
some,
that's
something
heartbreaking
that
because they were working for you. It's a story. Oh, how often do we do that? How often do we tell us a story that dictates everything we've done in our lives, and then we go back and we're like, "What? That didn't serve us." I have
it's
I have a few.
I heard a great quote once that said The world is full of adults walking around like hurt children in adult bodies. Because
Oh.
those childhood
Oh.
events really can define you unless you are doing the willingness to do the work and learn about yourself and make new choices, right? As our favorite, you know, person that we look up to, Brennan Burchard, says, well, actually, no, I have so many leaders. That's not what Brennan said. What Mary Morrissey, she's amazing. Mary Morrissey, if you don't know her, what she said is you can live a
Mhm.
life either by design or by default. And if you don't do the work to understand
Mm.
what childhood messages you got that either are valuable or not, you're going to live by default. And you're going to get the messages that you created in your mind when you were a kid, and you're going to still live them out your whole life. If you live a life by design, you're going to do the work it takes to become self aware and make new choices.
So, what is it in your life that got you to decide, I'm going to design my life? I'm not living by default. I'm designing it because there's no way you could go to 35 countries, live in 10 of them, right? Write the book, do a TEDx, do all of these things that a very confident person does without doing it by
Very good
design.
point. I was born adventurous. I was born an extrovert.
Mm.
I was born with, I spent my junior year in college in Italy and bought a Eurail pass and traveled every weekend and fell in love with the world. I was blown away that this world existed because growing up in America is just one culture and it's huge and you think the whole world is that way. And then you travel and you realize,
Yeah.
wow, people live totally different lives. So I was an adventurous person and that was easy for me. It was easy. I loved to entertain. I loved to educate. It was easy for me to get on the TED stage. What hasn't been easy for me is learning my self-worth and having a positive internal world of loving myself and appreciating myself. So that default, I'm adventurous. That was easy for me. Like when people graduated from high
Because you
school
could just
and
go,
stayed in our hometown for college, I was like, why would you do that? I
let's
couldn't believe it.
go.
So, but the part that I've had to design and really dig into and create is having a more peaceful internal life.
So you could be still. So when did that part of your journey start? What happened to get to that part of your journey? Because we explore and that was easy. But what happened that you're like, I'm ready to sit and be still for a moment to find that inside?
It's it's actually it's actually been a lifelong journey. I I've uh, I started going to a therapist when I was 14. I spent over a decade going to 12-step meetings. I've went to two different rehab centers where they have you do a lot of work on yourself. I've kept journals for years, and it's really been every year making understanding myself a like going to the gym. It's been something that I've really spent a lot of time reading the books, going to the conferences, finding inspirational people like Jamie Kern Lima, who's talking about worthiness, and Brendan Bouchard, who is amazing in just loving yourself and creating a purpose filled life. It's been an entire lifetime. However, I must admit, one of the biggest influences in my life has been, I might cry, is a friend. My friend Scott, who I met 3 years ago. We've kind of been like a couple and then friends and couple and friends and things because I've always felt like he's meant to be my friend, but we've always tried to make it more romantic. And he is the first one that's ever shown me what unconditional self love really looks like. I've had boyfriends in the past that were very kind and loving. And so it's a combination of meeting him, but also I think me being ready to receive. But now I can look at myself through his eyes and I'm blown away. I've never, he's so like, Jody, you're amazing. Why are you worried about that? Jody, you look beautiful. Why are you worried about that? Jody, you've done so much in the world. Why do you want to do more? Like, Jody, you're so fun. You're like the coolest chick I've ever met. Why are you criticizing yourself? Been like an angel for me because I really do see my value more than I ever have because of him.
And you
Yes.
were ready. You were ready. And that's what you said, you were ready. Oh my, I bet the journey that you've been on, this incredible journey that you've been on, the people that you touch, I've gotten to meet you, I don't know, several times in person, and you're so amazing at just
Mm.
connecting from your heart, like through your eyes, like it just beams through, like you just have that amazing connection. And I was always like, wow, and so amazing. So, Scott helped you. Wait, let me understand. So you got to see
Hmm.
yourself through Scott's eyes and you
Yes.
believed him.
Yeah.
Because you told me earlier, you said other people told you you're fabulous and wonderful and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, people also told me I need to love myself more. People also told me I needed to love myself more, but I didn't know what that meant
Oh,
because I was only using the definition of taking care of
ah,
myself. And I thought, well, I eat better and take better care of myself. So I don't really know why you're telling me that. I didn't know what truly unconditional, self compassionate, self worth that is unshakable, unconditional love. I didn't, that's a whole different thing of I go to yoga and I eat broccoli, right? I went to yoga and I ate broccoli. So I thought I loved myself, right? So
oh gosh. So what's the next step? So what is your next journey? Because you've helped so many people in through their diabetic journey.
yes. So my main job for the past 10 years, which I'm still doing, is I help patients with type 1 diabetes. So I've had type 1 for over 40 years and I have a virtual practice. So if anybody knows somebody struggling with type 1, have them go to my website and I can help you. So